Hi there, welcome back to Magic String Works. So today on the workbench we have this Fender Stratocaster. It is well used, well played. It is a 40th anniversary edition. I really like this logo. 1994, so 1954 to 1994. This guitar was actually made in 1993, September of 1993, according to the Fender serial lookup website. And you can see that it's been well played, well used. The saddles have been changed over time to these black ones. Those aren't standard. But other than that, everything else looks appropriate. Maybe this tone knob has been changed. I checked the electronics, they all work fine, so that's good. The reason it's here is the owner changed the nut, which had disintegrated on him one day. So he put a new nut in, and he's just not happy with the fit in that. And yeah, I can see why. We'll take some measurements, but it's pretty high, the first fret action. I'm noticing a few other things with the neck, and I'll point those out to you as we go along. But yeah, let's get started on this 40th anniversary Stratocaster. Cool. I guess I'll show you the neck plate too. It says 1994 Fender Stratocaster, 40 years and still rockin'. I like that. So like I mentioned, the owner changed the nut and wants me to adjust it, make it fit better, make the action a little lower. But having a closer look at this guitar, I did notice a few other issues, like the frets themselves are super flat, hardly any crown on them. They're very low, they've been filed down and dressed at least once, if not 2 or 3 times before. And the saddles here, if we have a close look, and maybe because they're black they're hard to see, but the 1st and 6th strings especially, even the 5th string, they're like right decked down. So we don't really have any more room. So do we need a neck shim or not? Let's have a closer look. Okay, so the reason it's here is the nut action, so the height of the string above the 1st fret. And ideally on a Strat like this, I like to see 18 thousandths. 18 to 20 is acceptable, but 18 I like, and that gives some, a little bit of room for this to wear in the nut a little bit. So let's see what 18 thousandths gives us. Okay, there's play. It's not, well, yeah, here we go. It gets a little high over here. So if you strum the nut with the feeler, or strum the string, don't strum your nuts, strum the string with the feeler gauge resting on the fret, and it doesn't buzz on the feeler gauge, then you know you have obviously space above, right, for the string to ring. And I like to just get the tip of this particular feeler gauge because it's narrow on the fret. Okay, so it's definitely higher than 18. Let's do 22, which would be too high, more like a bass. Yeah, see that? It's starting to buzz. Buzz. A little bit. Not buzzing at all. Okay, so definitely we have different string nut action here at each string pretty much. So I'm going to get these all even. Okay, I'm going to check the string height now, the way it's set up right here, using my string and pickup height gauges, which you can purchase at magicstringworks.com. Shameless plug, as usual. So 4/64, which is about 1.6 millimeters at the 17th fret, is a general Fender spec. So I'm going to pass the gauge underneath, and if there's any bounce in the string, which there is, that means the string is higher than the gauge, which is 4/64. I don't hear it touching the string, and yeah, that's quite a bit higher. Okay, let's try 5/64, which would be acceptable. A lot of people like to play a little higher like that. Yeah, still a little bounce. I'm touching there. A little bounce. Yeah, okay. There's still some room to go down there. Now, I would like to see a Strat set up at 4/64th, like I mentioned, but if 5/64 works for this guitar, then that's what we'll do. But we have another complication. So I did point this out earlier that we have saddles that are pretty much decked right down to the bridge plate. Certainly the first string, the fifth and the sixth, there's really no room to go. Maybe a little bit down here on that side. The second, third, and fourth strings we can go down a little bit, so that's okay. But we're limited really if we want to keep all the strings at the same height. We're limited by the first and let's say the fifth and sixth strings, how low we can go with them. So that usually means we need a neck shim. So we tilt the neck back a little bit, which gives us a little different angle, and then we have more room to raise the saddles. But I did notice something else. So what did I notice? Well, the frets on this guitar are pretty flat, the tops. It's like they were leveled, but then nobody crowned them after. Put that nice little round crown on the tops, which you need. So it's hard to see, of course, with the camera. I'll tilt the guitar a little bit, maybe. They're very flat. And it makes the frets look pretty wide, too. In any case, what does that do? Well, when your frets are wide like that and flat, and there's no crown, your intonation point is not right in the middle of the fret. So you end up with a string, could be touching the front and the back of the fret, and you could get intonation issues. So ideally you want crowns on your frets, right? So that's something I noticed, but I also noticed that the fret heights vary quite differently across the fretboard, and generally speaking, we're going from about 36 thousandths on the first fret to about 48 thousandths at the last fret. So a difference about 12 thousandths. Now that's the thickness of this feeler gauge, which doesn't seem like a lot, but in guitar terms, a thousandth, 2,000, 3,000ths of an inch could make quite a difference. So I'm a little worried that we can't really lower this. Well, obviously we can't lower this more than what we have here in the saddles. And even if I were to put a neck shim in and tilt that neck up, because the frets are significantly higher down the end of the fretboard, that's sort of going to cancel everything out. So we're not going to end up with we might solve maybe a bit of the string height issue here, but we're gonna we're gonna lose it with the fret buzz perhaps, right? So let me talk with the owner about that. So let's check the neck relief. I put a capo here on the first fret, and I'm going to measure, and I'll hold down the string, the sixth string, right around the neck and the body joint. And I'd like to see about 8 to 9 thousandths of relief at the 7th fret. I'm not really touching that feeler gauge. Let's try 10 thousandths. Barely touching. So this neck could use a little adjustment, a little tightening. That would actually lower the action a touch as well. So that will help with the string height for sure. Okay, well, I spoke with the owner, and I explained to him that the saddles are pretty much decked down to the bridge. The frets vary in height across the fretboard, and pretty much they're at their end. 36 thousandths. You might be able to address that one more time, but generally no. And because these frets have no crowns really, you're going to take off a lot of fret if you try and crown these and level them. So I really would recommend a refret for this guitar. So he's thinking about that. But for now, what he would like is for me to just adjust the nut height, something playable, and get the action down as low as it can. And he doesn't play with a super low action anyways, so he'll be happy most likely with 5/64. It was a lot higher than that when it came in, so I lowered the saddles a little bit to see if we could go anywhere, but of course we couldn't get lower than what we have. So I'm going to try and get this as low as I can, and then the owner is going to consider doing a fret job on this guitar. He's owned this guitar. He's the second owner, and I think he believes he bought it in around 94, 95 after the original owner had it. So, you know, it has sentimental value, and he's been playing it pretty much, you know, as his daily player every week. So he wants to keep on using it for as long as he can, and why not? So we're going to put these Ernie Ball 9-42s on there. That's what's on here right now. So that's where we'll make the adjustment for the nut as well. No need to do this, people. You don't need to lock the string around, you know, do a luthier's knot or anything like that. It just causes problems when you go to take the string off. Honestly, just wind it, you know, wind it down so that, you know, everything gets tensioned up underneath the piece that's sticking through the hole. That's all you need. You know, just imagine you're playing live, not to belabor the point here. But you're playing live and you break that first string, which, you know, happens a lot, and you gotta go change it. Like, look at this. How do you change that quickly, right? You can't. So don't do this. You don't need luthier knots, anything like that. So what do you think of the double string trees? You know, Fender's had them on, had them off. 1 string tree, 2 string trees. I mean, anything that helps the break angle stay consistent, I don't think it's a problem. I think it's more of an aesthetic issue. People don't like seeing 2 string trees there, but honestly, I don't mind, because I think that anything that ensures, you know, that things play better, then awesome. Look at this. This is something too that you gotta. Normally I just get a couple of turns and that's it, but not even. But this really, I don't even know if this is going to tighten. So if you're having tune instability issues, well, here's the #1 culprit right here. Okay, I've got a 10mm socket here. Let's see if I can tighten this. Oh, look at that. Okay, that's just not tightening. How about this one? Nope. This one? Okay, that tightened. This one? Yeah. That one? Okay, yeah, barely. Okay, well, we've got another problem. Look at that. These are just not going to tighten. Well, I'm going to see if there's a reason why this tuner doesn't want to tighten up. I suspect it's stripped, but it's unscrewing though. Okay, take that out. Oh, yeah, look at that. Alright, well, this tuner is pooched, really. Let's see if it's the same for this one. Will this one come out? Again, tuners are wear items, you know. They will break after a while. I mean, this guitar is 30 years old, 31 years old. Okay. Oh yeah, look. This one too. Alright. This one I was able to tighten, so I suspect it's okay, but really I think there's a new set of tuners required for this guitar. Okay, well, spoke with the owner and he wants to go ahead and replace these old tuners that are broken with brand new Fender tuners, and these are Fender genuine parts. These are not locking tuners. They're standard tuners. Don't really need locking tuners. They should be a drop-in fit. Now you can see that they have the two little guide pins, locating pins, just like the original ones did. Pretty much the same size. The only difference is that the newer style tuners have two post heights, so they stagger the posts so that you have two here at the front that are taller, and then they're shorter at the back, so that helps with the break angle. Of course, we have two string trees, as we mentioned earlier, so that's what this was for. Now when you stagger the tuners, you don't really need this one here, but anyways, it's on the guitar, so we're going to leave it there. So what I think I'll do is I'll just check here real quick. Does it fit? Yeah. I'll flip it over. And you can see right there the locating holes for the pins. And everything fits. And that prevents it from spinning around. Of course, we haven't tightened it with the washer yet, but that's how it works, right? The nut and the washer will lock that into place. So yeah, I don't think it's changed much in 30 years, right? So I'll go ahead and put these in, and then we'll be able to continue with the setup. So I'll come in here and show you the stagger, and you should be able to see these tuning posts are taller than these four, right? So that's how you're supposed to install them. Don't put the tall ones at the back. But yeah, that's how pretty much all standard Fender tuners are like that now. And other than the tuners being shinier, it really hasn't changed in 30 years. Alright, while I have the strings off, I'm just going to give the fretboard a clean. This is a maple lacquered neck, and it has some great patina on it. You can see some of the chips in the lacquer and that, so that looks really cool. As long as it doesn't get uncomfortable to play, like sharp, it's okay. So I'll just put a little simple green. You can use soap and water. Any mild cleaner is good. Just agitate it a little bit. Get some of the dirt off. Again, we're not changing the character of the fretboard. We're just cleaning it. Well, these frets really do need to be replaced, but for now, I'm just going to give them a cleaning with, here's some 1000 grit fret eraser. Just go over them a bit. Yeah, they're definitely really flat. But this will get any surface grime or corrosion off them without changing anything. That looks a lot better in the light. Okay, let's get some strings on this thing. Ernie balls, 9 to 42. I love the individual envelopes. That's my thing. Okay, all strung up. Left some little tails on there, which I'll trim off after we're finished doing a setup. Everything's in place. I like to sort of just push strings around. Bend them straight against the post a bit. That way I get as much slack as I can out of the tuning machines, and then hopefully when we stretch the strings, we'll get some more out of there. Always stretch the strings. Otherwise you'll be fighting tuning for a lot longer than you want to, I'll tell you. Okay, I've stretched the strings, say that 5 times fast. I've tuned it up And now I'm just going to do a check and see where we are. So for the neck relief cable on the first, we want to see about 8 to 9 thousandths would be nice. Push down near the body joint at the 7th fret. Just touching that 8 thousandths, just barely. You can hear that. So yeah, I kind of like that. That relief is okay. String height, so the action, I'd like to see 4, but I don't think I'm going to get 4. No. I can lower the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th strings because I have some room with the saddles, but I don't have any room left for the 1st and 6th strings especially. So try 5. Oh, we're close. Oh, we're touching there. Okay, well, I think we can get it down to about 5, which isn't bad. I'm just going to check the intonation for the hell of it. Yeah, I have to stretch these strings a little more. Alright, well, I decided I'm not happy with this because I really can't get the 1st and 6th strings down to 4/64ths. They're 5, 5.5, and I can get the other ones down, but I don't want uneven string action. I am going to try and do it without taking the strings off. I've just loosened them, slacking them right off. Flip it over. I'll put the neck flat there. There we go, on the bench. And I'll just put something underneath. There we go. We'll loosen this up. Ah, I didn't even look. Well, what do you know? Well, look at that. I didn't even notice. It has a little tilt-a-neck feature. So there's a set screw in there that you can turn, and you can raise the heel of the neck up. So you have to loosen the screws off still a little bit, right? And then you just raise the neck up a little bit. And I don't know if this has been used before by somebody. Maybe it has, maybe it hasn't. Hopefully it hasn't, and there's room. It's not like bottomed out, that kind of thing. Well, let me see. Okay, so this takes a 1/8 Allen key. I'm going to seat it in there. There we go. So, should be lefty-loosey. Yeah. That loosened right off. Okay. And I'll get it to where it wants to tension, right there. Okay, so what I need to do though, I've got to loosen these screws a little bit, otherwise the neck can't move, right? I'll loosen them all a little bit. Especially you want to loosen these lower ones. So obviously you're trying to lift that neck up. Okay, let's see if this will turn now. Alright, hey, it's turning. I don't know how much to turn it, to be honest. Is that enough? We'll try that. That's funny. I didn't even notice it before, so let's see if it works. Okay, here's 5/64ths, and basically that's where I was higher than 5/64ths on the 6th, and feels lower. I can't get the gauge under these strings anymore. Okay, it's working, I think, so let me try it again. Okay, I've done it one more time, and the 5 is 5/64 scraping. I can't get it under the 5th string, 4th string, it's all touching. So, it's still the 1st string, not quite touching. Let's try 4/64. Definitely have a little bounce. I can't, so I'm going to have to raise the A string up. Yeah, not bad. So the A string, that definitely can come up. Just touching the 4, Just a hair, I'll raise it up. Okay. Same thing here with the D, just a hair. Okay. G. B is good. Just checking the neck relief here. So here's 8/1000ths. Yeah, nothing has changed there. Yeah, we're right around 9/1000, so that's good. So I wasn't expecting the neck relief to change, but definitely the string height has changed because we've had a little bit of movement on the saddles now. I think the best thing to do is to check and see if we have any fret buzzing. Now, you can do this on the bench like this, and generally I find if I don't hear any string buzzing here, I'm not going to find it in the open position. So far, so good. That was me. Check that first string again. Yeah. Here, I'll do it in the playing position. A little bit there, eh? And that's those high frets up here, so I don't think we can get this as low as I would like. Probably have to set it up at 5/64 for sure. Alright, I've done the nut slots. I filed them down to 20/1000. I decided to leave it at 20, not 18, because more than likely this guitar is going to have a fret job. So if I file this down too deep, we might not be able to reuse it, but also probably have to change this nut as well when you do a fret job. So I'll let the owner decide, but it plays really, much better now than what it was. Yeah. So, all right, I'll check the intonation. So before I do the intonation, I'll just double check the pickup height. I had semi-adjusted it when it arrived because we were right under the strings, so that's no good. So I like to see 1/8 on the bass side. Okay, not bad. Little space. This front pickup will need to come up a little bit. So 1/8 is about 3.2 millimeters. Again, adjust them the way you like, but you don't want them too close. You get weird noises, and if they're too far, you're going to lose output. That's good. So we're 3/32, 6/64, so 2.4 millimeters. That back bridge one could come up a little bit. Just a hair. Okay, so when I do this now before intonation, because I had comments about it, and it makes sense for sure. Let's check the intonation. I don't have high hopes for intonation on this guitar because of these really flat frets. Alright, let's try the first string. Well, it's in tune. Harmonic, good. Fretted note, right on. The B, right on. The G, it's a little sharp. The tuning, always tune up in a non-locking tuner. Tune up to your note. That's about right. Okay, so we're a little sharp on the G, the D, a little sharp on the D, get that A, oh, a little flat. Is that the tuning? Yeah. Let's try the E. You got to tune. Again, these are new strings, so never trust new strings. A little sharp. The tuning's a little sharp. So definitely the G and the D are sharp, right? So this being Fender bridge, all we have to do, if it's sharp, we want to pull the saddle back to lengthen the string, to flatten it, right? So there's the G. It's not bad, the tuning. So we're sharp. So we want to lengthen the string. So I'm going to first off detune, take some tension off so the saddle moves better. Bring it back a little bit. Trial and error a bit, right? You just keep checking it. There's no rushing intonation, really. Still sharp. Yeah, so I'm going to have to move that saddle back quite a bit. So that's really all I can do with this guitar right at the moment. So I've got it set up as good as I think it'll play. So we're right around 20 thousandths at the nut. We have about 9 thousandths of relief, neck relief. We're just under 5/64 for the action at the 17th fret. Pickups are adjusted, intonations pretty darn good. So really, diagnosis, need some new frets on this nice 40th anniversary Stratocaster, right? So give the owner a call and he'll come pick it up. Thanks for watching. See ya.